Today I'm looking at the rather unique Olympus TG-Tracker 4K action camera. The TG-Tracker has some rather unique and unusual features, so let's take a closer look. Olympus with the TG-Tracker has chosen to go with a tubular design for its camera body, as opposed to the traditional design of something like a GoPro. At first glance, it looks very rugged and tough with its chunky plastic end caps and visible screw heads on both faces. In fact, they even have the word tough inscribed into the painted metal part of the left face. And talking about painted, the TG-Tracker is available in two colors, green and black. The unit I'm testing today is obviously green. The TG-Tracker is completely waterproof up to a depth of 30 meters for up to 1 hour and doesn't need a waterproof housing to make it waterproof. However, you will need to swap out the standard lens protector with the provided underwater lens protector before using it in water. There are also two underwater video modes, underwater wide and underwater flipped wide, which accommodate for the field of view of the underwater lens protector. The tracker is very simple to use. Flipping the on button on the left hand face powers the camera and turns on the 1.5-inch viewfinder on the right hand side. The flip open viewfinder is your primary interface for this camera and can be flipped open to compose the shot and then closed when the tracker is mounted and ready to go. There's an easy access record button on the top with a few buttons to navigate through the camera's menus and options. And talking about menus and options, the menus are actually pretty easy to toggle through and it's packed with quite a few useful features. And having that viewfinder really does help. The tracker also has stereo microphones on the front and I'll show you how they perform in a minute. The micro SD card slot, micro USB charge port, micro HDMI video port and the battery live behind this waterproof compartment on the back of the camera. Now the battery is removable, so you can definitely buy spares. If you want to record in 4K, which you'll probably want to do, make sure to get a fast enough card to handle the data rate. I'll leave links to some cards that'll work with this camera in the description below. In terms of mounting options, the camera can be mounted to anything with a 1/4-20 standard tripod thread. You can also mount the camera to any standard GoPro mount using the provided handle. The handle separates into a grip and GoPro mount adapter, which is really useful. Now, if you don't want to take the handle apart, you can always use the handle as a camera grip for handheld shots and even selfies. A rather unusual feature you might not find on most action cams is the built-in video light. This is really useful for shooting at night or in low light conditions. It'll turn on automatically once you hit record if you enable it in the settings menu, or you can manually power it on and use it as a flashlight. Another reasonably useful feature is the built-in GPS, compass, and altimeter. This is useful if you'd like to log the location and information of your shots. And it's also super useful if you're trekking in the woods and need some sense of direction. You can also use the OI Track Companion app to track the GPS location of your footage. Oh, and talking about apps, the OI Share app, which you can use to control the TG-Tracker, is just downright awful. It's probably one of the worst apps I've seen for any action camera. It loses connection very often, hangs, and even worse, causes the camera to hang and do really weird things. Now, I'm not saying you can't use the camera without the app. In fact, I recommend using it without the app. I just feel Olympus can do a much better job of producing an app for this device. In terms of video quality, it will shoot 4K video at 30 FPS, full HD video at 30 and 60 FPS, 720p HD video at 30, 60, 120 and 240 FPS for super slow-mo video. It can also shoot 480p SD video, though I doubt anyone will ever use it. When it comes to 4K video, the camera does a pretty impressive job. Everything is sharp, the colors are well reproduced, and the image stabilization keeps things smooth. And yes, you heard that right, it does have built-in image stabilization, which works very well, even on potholed roads like this one. And when you switch it to 1080p at 60 FPS, the video gets even smoother. Granted, you do lose the sharpness of 4K, but you get even smoother video that's great for action shots. I then shot at 720p in the super slow-mo 240 FPS mode and slowed the video down to 30 FPS. The effect looked pretty cool, but the video was a bit muddy and lost its sharpness, which is to be unexpected when shooting in 720p. It's definitely a cool effect and pretty usable footage. I then tested it head to head with the GoPro Hero 4 Black in the 4K mode, shooting at 30 FPS. And while the GoPro was a tiny bit sharper and had a slightly better aesthetic, the tracker produced much smoother video thanks to the better image stabilization. Now the Hero 5, which has just been released, will also come with better image stabilization, so that might actually be a much closer comparison. And the TG-Tracker is also a great vlogging camera, and as you can see, I've mounted it to the provided handle, and I'm using the mirror to align my face correctly, which is really helpful. And the audio that you're hearing is from the TG-Tracker. It's a little windy and there's a bit of traffic in the background, and you're probably going to be able to hear that. So this is how it looks if you use it as a vlogging camera. Now most people aren't going to buy this to take stills, but it can take 8 megapixel stills if you need it. The pictures are fine, but definitely nothing to get excited about. It also has a built-in time-lapse mode, which is actually pretty useful. So should you buy this camera, and how does it compare to the GoPro line of cameras? The TG-Tracker is a solidly built camera that's easy to use and produces very impressive footage. And when it comes to GoPros, let's start with the GoPro Hero 4 Black. As compared to the Hero 4 Black, the TG-Tracker wins thanks to its better image stabilization, viewfinder, and waterproof characteristics. However, when compared to the new Hero 5, the tracker is more evenly matched. So what do I recommend? If you're not bothered by the clunky app on the tracker and want to save yourself some money, go with the TG-Tracker. However, if you want a much better smartphone control app and can afford the extra cost, go with the new Hero 5 Black. I'll leave links to both cameras below, so feel free to check them out. If you own one of these cameras, tell us about your experience in the comments below. Hope this video was useful. If it was, please give us a big thumbs up and subscribe for more reviews. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.